Welcome to Deep Night Horrors, where every night hides a secret darker than the last. I am Daniel, your host for tonight, and what I'm about to tell you is one of the most disturbing family encounters ever recorded in the rural heart of South America. If you think you've seen haunted houses before, trust me, you haven't seen this one. Let's begin. South America was wrapped in humid morning heat when Arden Vallis, his wife Maribel, and their two sons, Lance and Ronan, drove their old SUV toward a small village called El Monte Verde. The village was swallowed by forests, ancient trees, moist soil, and a silence so unnatural that it made even confident people uneasy. Arden convinced himself this new place would help their family restart their life. Maribel had doubts written clearly across her face. The boys in the back seat, headphones plugged in, were too busy in their game world to realize they were heading toward a place humans weren't meant to stay. They had rented an old farmhouse on the outskirts, cheap, isolated, and strangely untouched. No villager had ever recommended it. In fact, when Arden had mentioned the house, the old shopkeeper stared at him with a silent warning, a look that said, "Turn back while you can." Arden assumed it was superstition, but the heaviness in the air that day felt like the forest itself was trying to tell them something. As their SUV rolled over a narrow, muddy track, disappearing deep into the woods, the house finally came into view. Towering, 3 stories high, ancient wooden walls drowning in thick moss. It rose like a forgotten beast. The windows were black voids, staring outward. Maribel's fingers froze around her seatbelt as she whispered, "This place feels wrong." Arden forced a smile. "Just old. We'll fix it up." Ronan peeked from the window and muttered, "Dad, this house looks like it literally eats people." Before Arden could respond, a cold wind cut across the porch, carrying with it a soft whisper, so faint yet so sharp that it made the family turn instinctively. Maribel's breath hitched. "Did you hear that?" Arden swallowed nervously. "It's just the wind." But no one was convinced. The front porch creaked under their steps like it hadn't been touched in decades. When Arden pushed the door open, a powerful wave of stale, rotting air filled their lungs. Lance gagged. "This place smells like something died inside." Arden pretended confidence. "We'll air it out." Inside, the house was enormous, long corridors, twisting staircases, small rooms with antique furniture frozen in dust. Ronan found a tall mirror leaning in a dark corner. His reflection looked warped. He placed his hand on the glass, and for a split second he saw something impossible, his reflection pulling his hand down instead of copying it. Ronan stumbled backward with a gasp. "Don't wander alone," Maribel scolded nervously. By evening, the family had unpacked, but the moment the sun dipped behind the forest, the house transformed. Every plank of wood groaned, every window trembled, every corner felt like something was breathing from the darkness. When Maribel turned on the kitchen stove, the lights began to flicker violently. Lance, checking the fridge, froze as he caught a dark, tall shadow reflected on the steel surface, standing right behind him. He spun around. Nothing. "Mom, someone's in the house," he whispered. Before Maribel could respond, a door slammed shut upstairs. The sound shook the entire frame of the house. Dinner was forgotten. Sleep became impossible. Ronan and Lance shared a room with an old rocking chair. Ronan eyed it suspiciously. "That chair is cursed, bro." In the dark, silence held for a minute. The chair began rocking, slowly, steadily, as if someone invisible was laughing silently. Ronan shot up, flashlight on. The chair froze instantly. "Lance, wake up! The chair was moving!" Lance tried to act brave, but his trembling voice betrayed him. "Probably wind." Downstairs, Maribel and Arden tried to sleep, but woke repeatedly with the same horrifying feeling someone was standing right beside their bed. Arden opened his eyes and saw a tall, dark silhouette at the foot of their bed. He thought Maribel was awake until he realized she was sleeping right next to him. The figure melted into the wall like liquid shadow. Arden's breath died in his throat. Morning brought no comfort. Everyone looked drained, pale, and weak, as if the house had sucked the life out of them. Ronan finally confessed, "Someone whispered my name last night." The family froze. No one laughed this time. 3 days passed. The house grew louder, hungrier. Furniture scraped floors by itself. Footsteps ran across the hall, and the basement door, though latched, was always found open by morning. On the 4th day, desperate for answers, they approached the villagers. Most refused to speak. One old woman finally looked Arden dead in the eyes. "That house is not for humans. Shadows live there, older than the forest, older than our history. We call them umbre, living darkness." Maribel stammered, "Ghosts?" "No," she whispered, "ghosts wish they were that harmless. Families who lived there before vanished. No graves, no bodies, nothing." Maribel grabbed Arden's arm. "We're leaving tonight." Arden, trying to be the rational father, said, "One more night. If anything happens, we leave." That night was the longest night of their lives. Every window rattled, every wall vibrated, whispering seeped from the ceilings and floors. Ronan and Lance's mirror turned pitch black. Chalk symbols appeared across it, and in the center was a chilling sentence, "We see you." Meanwhile, Maribel, passing the flickering kitchen lights, turned and froze as a woman-shaped shadow towered behind her. Thin, impossibly tall, entirely black, with 2 glowing white eyes. She screamed. Arden rushed downstairs. The basement door blasted open, sending dust flying. Footsteps thundered upward, too fast to be human, like something running on 3 or 4 limbs. The boy sprinted down the stairs as shadows stretched across the walls, reaching for them. One darker, larger shadow dropped from the ceiling and stood between them and the exit. Ronan felt its cold grip clamp onto his shoulder. His body convulsed with terror. "Dad, it's in my head!" Arden dragged him away, forcing everyone toward the front door. Another shadow stood there, blocking exit, motionless except for its staring white eyes. He shoved through it, his body passing through an icy void, and pushed everyone into the car. As he sped down the dirt road, the house shrank behind them. Dozens of glowing eyes stared from the windows. Ronan stopped screaming only when the village disappeared behind the hills, as if the creature's grip finally released him. 2 days later, when Arden called the landlord simply said, "You lasted longer than the last family." Arden trembled. "What happened to them?" The landlord hung up. They never returned, but Ronan still wakes up at night, whispering the same sentence. They're still watching, through the old mirror. If you want more stories like this, stay here with us at DeepNight Horrors, because in places like these, darkness is alive, and some shadows never forget the ones who escape.